What is up? It's your boy Ronan back at you again with another video. Sorry it took me a while. I was in the middle of moving. I've moved now though, so maybe next video I'll be back on camera. I don't know yet. I haven't really gotten settled down. But if you don't know who I am, I'm an artist, designer, illustrator, but most importantly, comic book fan. I have a really cool comic book called The Heavy. You can check it out, link in the description below. If you like mechs and militaristic drama, stuff like that, a lot of hyper detail, you might like it. So check it out. So today we're going to do something a little different. Normally, I do illustrations of comic stuff, but today I'm going to be doing a graphic design. Well, it's kind of designy. It's a graphic I made based off of my love for the game Final Fight, the old beat 'em up arcade game. So as I was moving, I was going through a bunch of my work trying to find stuff to scan and throw away the sketches and stuff like that, and I came across this illustration I did for a Kickstarter I did a couple years back, and I never used it. I just did the illustration, never applied it to anything. So I decided I was going to vectorize it, and vectorizing things is for things like when you want to make a logo or something. I think when you make something that's very graphic, like a logo or anything, you should always vectorize it. I mean, it should never be done by hand. And while this isn't really a logo per se, it's kind of more of a graphic, you know what I mean? So that's what I'm going to call it. So yeah, I think it should be vectorized, and I do like the look of it. But ultimately, your hand drawings are never going to be totally symmetrical. They're never going to be totally perfect. So yeah, I think it's time to make this a vector graphic. So that's what we're going to be doing today. Well, I would like to also say that there's nobody in the game called actually the Metro City Maulers. The name of the bad guys are the Mad Gear Gang. I was just trying to come up with some kind of interesting, vintage looking t-shirt design that rep Metro City. That wasn't necessarily super right on the nose. Also, I'm using, although I am using Saddam's head as a symbol, he's probably the coolest looking character in the game. He has a samurai helmet with football pads on, so he's very striking looking. So he's my favorite character, and just one of my favorite comic book character designs from any game or comic. So like I was saying in a previous video when I was making a vector drawing, I think it was the Blade Runner one. If you're gonna do a vector trace of an illustration you did, it needs to be either extremely complex or extremely simple. Meaning there need to be a lot of lines on there or not a lot. So a logo is really simple, and you want a logo to be perfect, the lines to be perfect. So that doesn't really matter. It doesn't look strange to the eye. But if you're just gonna do a straight up illustration like I did with that Blade Runner illustration, there needs to be a lot on the page or the screen rather, because your eye is going to notice the perfectness of the lines and it just looks weird. So be aware of that. This drawing, because it has it was kind of designed to be more of a graphic from the inception, and it also has typography on it. It doesn't look that bad. It doesn't look bad at all. It was designed specifically to be made into vectors, but just be advised that you can't just make vectors out of any old illustration. So I do my vectors just the same way I color my comics. I just I make my shapes, and then I just do what you call flats, which is just assigning any old color to them, because go back and change the colors later. So it's just to give the object a color, so it's not transparent anymore, and I can see how it looks. So yeah. One thing that I like about Illustrator is there's a lot of different ways to do things. Um, some more efficient than others. Some sometimes you just get comfortable with the process and you don't want to do it a different way. Like depending on how big I want the file to be, sometimes I won't make things overlap. They'll look like they're overlapping, but they really aren't. Um, and Like for instance, some of these things I have the outlines really thick on them, and so really what I did is I sometimes I'll just reverse out the stroke when I make the stroke big, or sometimes I'll just I'll copy the image and put it below it and make the stroke really big, so it doesn't choke out the inside. Sometimes it just depends on how lazy I am or how big I want the file to be. So being that this is not technically a logo, it's really more of a graphic, uh, I guess, kind of a illustrated graphic. Um, it's not really totally symmetrical. The only thing symmetrical on here are the wings and what else? The burning building in the background. But the two sides with the roses and stuff, and the thunderbolts, there's not an equal amount on each side. Some of them, there's more on some sides than the other. So, but if you wanted to make it more like a logo, you could just, very easily just draw one entire side of the drawing and just flip it over. Or you could use, the symmetry function and do the live symmetry and draw it all at the same time, and you can, watch it as it does it symmetrically. So there's so many different ways to do it, but I'm not doing that right here on this aspect of it because it's not supposed to be totally symmetrical. So one good tip I would give is that if you're gonna do illustration, you're gonna have some type on it or like a title or something. Um, Try and integrate the typography into the illustration. Don't just like draw it, do your drawing or whatever, and then just put the title at the top or slap it at the bottom or whatever. I mean, I'm guilty of this. I've done it before. I'll do it from time to time because sometimes you have no control of the title. But if you're designing the whole thing from the ground up, like try and integrate it. It looks better that way and it's more interesting. Like the way Metro City kind of frames the piece really just makes it stand out. It just looks a lot better. It's more thoughtful. So you can see here that the colors have changed. I did that off camera. I forgot to record it, but right here, what I'm doing is I'm just adding a little bit of depth to the letters. Um, just got the same kind of warm black, almost kind of like a chocolate color that everything's outlined in, and I just drop the opacity down, maybe like 20 to 23%, and so I did that, and also I'll be adding some highlights as well to create even more depth, which you'll see in a moment. So what I'm doing right now is I'm adding a little bit of rim lighting, and what that does is it's basically kind of like a light highlight around the edges. And what that kind of does is for these letters, it gives them a little bit of dimensionality. It feels like on the edge it's kind of curved. And like I said, it just gives it a feeling of depth and more dimension. And then finally just some highlights with a subtle glow effect. And yeah, that's about it. So here's the final piece. I did a little bit more work offline. Without recording, because sometimes I just forget to record, and also sometimes I record too many videos and it starts to get too long. So yeah, I think though I only did I did a little bit of highlighting around the edges some more to give it a little bit more depth. But that's about all I did. Besides, messing with the colors. So yeah, this is the final piece. I think it turned out pretty good. I'm pleased with it. So that was the video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'm gonna maybe do some more graphic stuff, some more Illustrator type stuff in my videos, because I make a lot of work, but some of it's just not necessarily comic related. But I feel like video game stuff is close enough to comics to kind of count. So yeah, maybe I'll do a little bit more of that. But anyways, if you liked it, please, like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff. It really helps me out a lot. And I will catch you in the next one. All right, thanks. Peace.